Everyone is looking for a get-rich-quick scheme. Well, maybe not everyone, but it's the dream, right? And sometimes people will believe anything if you just tell them exactly what they want to hear. There's a reason so many people label print on demand as free, easy, quick. It comes across as more enticing. This kind of wording preys on more vulnerable people. Unfortunately, when you're at your worst, looking for anything to turn it around, that's when you're the most vulnerable. And that's what certain people take advantage of. This video is about a particular individual. I won't mention their name for various reasons. However, we will be uncovering the truth behind their course, and on top of that, I'll be interviewing unfortunate individuals that have fallen victim of the questionable sales tactics of this so-called person. Let's call them Emma. There have been many requests for me to make a video about Emma, but I didn't want to make this like the other ones. I wanted to get first-hand reviews, some from people who have spent thousands and thousands of dollars, others that have had to threaten legal action to get their refunds. It's incredibly shocking. This story is absolutely wild. For the safety of those individuals, I will be blurring out their faces and changing their voice just a little. The number of red flags around this Emma person is scary. The fact that no one is willing to come out publicly as they are genuinely afraid of what will happen speaks volumes. This person, Emma, that we're talking about, also has a large following on YouTube, and after scanning a huge portion of her videos, there are no negative comments whatsoever. I found this really strange. Not only are there no negative comments, they're weirdly positive. And this kind of thing always piques my interest. In fact, the only place you will be able to see anything negative is on Reddit, which is exploding with horror stories. Occasionally, you'll find Emma's name dotted around in the comment section of other YouTube videos, and most of the time they are also negative. Basically, this is what I've realized. If someone is able to post the truth anonymously, it's always bad feedback, and all of the public-facing stuff is good feedback. And this rings alarm bells for me, and it should ring alarm bells for everyone. Before going into our deep dive here, let me just say a couple of things. Firstly, I don't think there's anything wrong with having training and charging for it. I personally take many courses myself, not all business related. When I wanted to learn how to snowboard, it was quicker and easier for me just to watch some structured training and to pay for it, rather than dot around YouTube watching random videos here and random videos there. Everyone likes doing their own thing. However, because I like courses and I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on them, I've been exposed to all sorts of marketing tactics, good and bad. There's a couple of rules I think everyone who sells courses should follow. The first is practice what you preach. The second is to charge fairly. And this, of course, is subjective, and we'll get into this a little bit later. The third is don't make making money your goal. Make helping the individual your goal. And the fourth is show people what they'd get if they signed up. And 5, offer refunds. And number 6, be transparent with as much as you possibly can. Right, now that that's out the way, let's take a look at this situation in particular. This person has a large following on YouTube, a large team behind them, full of sales reps and other sorts of people. Most people I spoke to found their course from watching a random YouTube video, and then they booked a one-to-one. There is absolutely no way of finding out how much the course is anywhere or what's actually inside the course. After this one-to-one, you're given options to sign up on the call and save a bunch of money. Basically, the oldest trick in the book, and one that I hate the most. This one-to-one call that you end up having is incredibly sales focused. It sounds like money is the important thing. Basically, do whatever it takes so that you can get the sale. And that doesn't sit right with me. As I said in one of the first rules, helping the individual should be the goal, not making money. From everyone that I spoke to, they were all quoted different prices, which made me realize why the price isn't said anywhere. Because if someone with less money wants to take the course, on the call, they'll make a price that that person can afford. And if someone has more money, they'll make a higher price for them. It's very, very sneaky. Some of the people I interviewed, some had much higher paying jobs than the others. And funnily enough, the ones with higher paying jobs got quoted over $10,000 more than the person that barely had an income. That is mind-blowing. This is a very sneaky tactic, but it proves that money is the objective here, not helping someone with their business. And of course, if you don't have much money at all, you could end up like one of the people we spoke to. One was tied into an 18-month contract paying $280 a month, a contract for a course. What in the world is going on? An 18-month contract. It's like you're signing up for car finance. It's an 18-month contract where you're paying $280 a month. That is shocking considering, with this person in particular, their one-to-one training ended after 6 months. So they'd have 12 further months of paying when they're not actually getting the help that they need. That's mad. That is absolutely crazy. I interviewed a few people, including a fellow YouTuber, the Etsy Mentor. He's been helping a lot of people who have fallen victim to Emma's tactics, and he has some interesting points to share. Hey George, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm very, very good. Quickly before I ask you the detailed questions, just tell everyone who you are in case you've never seen any of your content before, just so that people can understand like your experience and what you've done.
So my name is George, George McConnell. I started Etsy about 5 years ago. I've had great success in it. I made a promise to myself after I make $1 million in 1 year, I would give my information out for free to try to help other people, which is what I'm doing on my YouTube account.
Nice. So it's fair to say that you're as close to an expert on Etsy as they come. Someone who's done 7 figures in a year on Etsy. That's quite a lot. That comes with quite a lot of authority. You reached out to me and you told me that you're actually helping a couple of people who are stuck. Maybe they signed contracts or they paid money for this training and it isn't what was advertised. Can you share anything about this person or this training?
The people that took this exact course, they're just left in running in circles for the most part. They receive the information and the information's good, but it's very broad and it's not specific to what they may be doing. One of the people, they sell digital items. And with that being said, the strategies that they're offering is more for physical stores, which would not be the same as for a digital store. The same applies for POD. The strategies that you would use for POD are not the same for physical as well. Sure, the SEO could be the same, things like that with doing your title, but the strategies to grow that business and scale it aren't the same. So a lot of them are left frustrated because by the end of the course and taking it, they're just left in the same spot because they're not getting the specific information that they need in order to grow.
Who is their training aimed at?
I really feel like the training is more aimed at more of a beginner, and then it just gives you a really brief of how to grow, but not everything to grow.
Yeah, like it doesn't go into like how to scale and all of that.
Yeah, and the scaling is more based on physical. You can't scale the same way you scale a physical store like you would scale a POD store.
Right, of course.
So the scaling is really specific to that physical aspect. This is from what I gathered from talking with everybody, and it's just not the same. So a lot of people sell POD, and a lot of my viewers have POD stores. So the ones that did take this course, one has digital, two have POD, and the POD people are still left in the same place as the digital because it's not specific enough for them to scale their business. They gain sales, but not enough to, one, justify the course, and two, they're kind of left on their own throughout the entire course. They have nobody to reach out to unless they pay.
Right. So in terms of pay, do you, because I've heard, and based on my research as well, there isn't really set pricing. So the 3 people that you're speaking to, A, did they get out? And B, how much do you know how much they paid?
They're all out. The one person was paying $2,500 a month. I know another person that spent $5,000 a month. And then another person said that they spent $500 to speak directly with the person that owns the course, and instead they were just given off to a team member. I think it's like an add-on that you can add on each month or whatnot. I don't know the specifics, but I was told that you add $500 a month, you get one-on-one coaching in addition to the course. So it's not just 500, it's the course, and then one-on-one is an add-on, but it's just with a team member, not the specific person.
The expert, the so-called expert.
You know, talking about that with it being Etsy and that they can obviously shut down your shop at any point, that just brought something into my head that one of the people said is their shop was shut down and they just actually kept appealing, thankfully, and they got their shop back. But when they reached out to the person that owns the course, I don't think it was them that responded, but their team member said, oh, just open another shop, which you can't do on Etsy. If one shop's closed, you can't open up a second shop. You can't open up a third. You can't open up a fourth. You're done.
And with the people you spoke to, did they tell you how difficult it was for them to get their money back?
So they did not request their money back, but I have seen online that people have difficulty trying to get any sort of refund. The people that I've worked with 5 so far. I'm still working with 3. They just kind of, brushed it off, got their hands clean and said, you know what, I'm just going to take the loss. And I feel like a lot of people do that because trying to go after and get your money back and, go against somebody that's worth the amount of money that they are, it's difficult.
Okay. I mean, look, this was incredibly insightful. I'm still just blown away by a lot of what I'm reading and hearing. But yeah, no, I want to just say thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And I recommend everyone goes to check out your channel, Etsy, at Etsy Mentor. You've got a lot of epic content. So definitely go check that out. And hopefully we'll speak again.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
As well as interviewing George, I also wanted to speak with people who directly have had experience themselves. Let's start with the first person. Again, they will be blurred for their safety. This person did not end up purchasing, but went through the sales call and brought to light some of the incredibly dodgy practices that you need to be aware of when looking for online training. Can you walk us through your experience?
Sure, absolutely. So I reached out to them, expressed interest in learning more about their program and what they do, and they reached back out to me. They eventually set me up with a representative who I got on a call with them to discuss the possibility of joining, to talk about their program and what it would entail, and to also discuss pricing and whether or not it would be a good fit for both of us. So I went on with the onboarding call and spoke to the representative. It was pretty obvious in the very beginning that the representative I was speaking to was very much a salesperson. They were very, very much about, rather than talking so much about their program and what they can offer, although there was a little bit of that, it was very centered on, why do you think you'd be a good fit for our program? Do you want to do this full time? Are you willing to do what it takes to invest in your business and your future? So that was very pushy, first of all. And this was even before I knew how much it was going to cost. But I also know this is a salesperson. The goal is to get people to sign up. They're running a business. They're trying to get customers. So, I mean, I understood where it came from, but I wasn't exactly in the frame of mind of wanting that kind of sales pitch, but it was pretty strong.
So what was the price then?
So on the call, I was quoted for the course and coaching. And I believe it was for a year of coaching, was $15,000 US.
Wow.
That's probably more than what I spent on college. So she quoted me $15,000 for the coaching and the course. Then she said, and I'm trying to remember exactly how this went. She said, if you sign up while we're on the call right now, the price goes down to, I believe it was $12,000. I believe it was 12,000, not 12,500. And then she said, but if you pay, if you sign up now on the call and you pay in one payment, the price is 10,000.
So he just knocked off $5,000 just like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Gosh, that shows to me that kind of shows where they place their value.
I told her that I can't put that kind of money up without speaking to my husband. That's a lot of money.
Sure.
And she wasn't really a big fan of that. I mean, it was very much she was trying to close the sale, and what would it take for you to sign up with us without talking to your husband? And and I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that. So I clearly spoke to my husband, was very wary about doing this, in large part because of the price. But I spent some time looking at reviews and was very concerned about some of the things that I found online. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to spend close to $15,000 on something like this, I don't want to go online and see the kind of reviews that I'm seeing. I mean, that's very, very concerning to me. And one other thing that happened in the call was when I was very clear about I'm not willing to go ahead and pay for this without speaking to my husband, she said, well, we can take a $100 refundable deposit. We'll schedule a call for the next day. You talk to your husband at home, see what he says, and then we can talk the next day. So I did that. I provided the $100 refundable deposit to basically hold my place and to hold the pricing. Reached out to the representative the next day and I said, look, I've given this some thought. I've talked to my husband. I know we have a call scheduled for later tonight, but I don't want to hold up your evening. I'm not going to proceed with signing up. And I don't want to waste your time.
Right.
Then I got an email saying, well, if you're interested in just doing the course and not the coaching, it would be $3,000.
Oh, wow. Significantly cheaper.
When it came down to getting my refundable deposit back, now $100, isn't, at least compared to what she would charge, what they were charging for the course, is not a lot of money. I mean, it's $100, but $100 is $100. You can pay for a lot of things in POD for $100, whether it be subscriptions or whatever else you use for your business. So $100 is definitely worth getting back, especially if you're not getting anything for it. But when I requested my money be refunded to me, of course they said, sure, we'll refund it. You should see it in a few days. And so I went on about my day and realized that after about a week, I heard nothing, saw nothing. I followed up. Oh, we'll get that taken care of for you. Okay. So I waited another week, followed up again, and then I heard nothing, no response. And I either followed up again after that, or I immediately went to my bank and disputed the charge on my credit card.
Right.
And I contacted the representative to let them know I've communicated this with my bank. So, I've disputed the charge. I'm sorry.
Did they definitely respond quickly after that?
Yes. Yes. And it was, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happened. We'll get that issued right away. So I did get my money back. But I had to go to the bank first,
right,
in order to get them to move.
And it wasn't easy. I mean, just imagine someone trying to get 10 grand back.
Oh, and I'm sure if you were talking about 10 grand, 15 grand, it would be much more of a hassle than what I went through.
Yeah.
Which, mine was, 4 or 5 emails back and forth and a call to my bank. In the grand scheme of things, that's probably not that bad, but I would certainly hope that if I'm providing a deposit that is clearly refundable and I ask for my refund back, I shouldn't have to go through the process of doing that to get my money back.
Well, look, I just want to say thank you. Really appreciate the help for this video. Yeah, and I wish you the best of luck with the next thing that you next thing you do. Now let's talk with our second person. They did the sales call, except they actually signed up, but had immediate buyer's remorse and wanted out. And this was the start of a very long battle for them. In case you hadn't realized, the idea here is I've interviewed 3 people. One that did the sales call but didn't sign up, one that did the sales call, signed up but wanted a refund, and then the last person will be one that did the sales call, signed up and stayed to the end. I wanted to get the broad picture here from every type of person that was involved in this training. So this person is someone that signed up but had immediate buyer's remorse. So tell me, how did it work? Like, how did you find the program?
Just listening to her stuff, and she would give some information, obviously, and then always relate to, oh, and this is covered in our course on blah, blah, blah. They'd book a call for the salesperson to call you, and then they sort of, the salesperson does their thing.
On this phone call then, did they give any, was there any scarcity tactics to get you to sign up then and there on the phone?
Yeah. So it was, ended up signing up for $5,000 US, and I can't remember what she said. It was more if you came back later. Well, I had explained to her at this time, our credit cards were really maxed. Things weren't good. And so I had already said to her, I told her that, and I said, oh, there's no way I can't even put this full amount on a credit card. It would have to, and so she offered me monthly payments. Thankfully, I took that over trying to pay it all out. Well, I couldn't because I didn't have the space on the credit card. And so I signed up to around $280 US a month of the payments, because over 18 months. So I think she knew that was the only way she was going to get that. They send you straight away a contract to sign there and then. Yeah. So on the call, I was emailed a contract, and I had to go through and do the electronic signatures. Yes, I will do that. 18 months, this repayment.
I've never heard of anyone doing a contract for a training program. That sounds really interesting.
Pretty much immediately. When I hung up, I thought, oh, crap, what have I done? I regretted it straight away. And I thought, okay, I shouldn't have done that. I really felt pressured. And I stewed on it for about 9 days. And on day 10, where we are, there's always a 10-day, 2-week cooling off period for anything here. Yeah. I'm not happy about this. I felt pushed. I can't afford it. I can't. And can you please get me out of this program? And they just said, no, there is no out. I didn't want to look at the course. I didn't want to look at her name, because all I could see was 18 months to 2 years on, still paying this thing out that I was not going to use.
Right.
That was a waste, utterly waste of money. And I felt as though I had let my own family down. The guilt, because I shouldn't have done it, and I wasn't able to get out of it. So I sent them back another email, and in the end, I just said, I am going to be a nightmare here. I don't want to be in this course. It is not worth it. I'm not happy with it. I've gone through it. It is a waste of money. I can't afford it. So all I can do is to go to every Better Business Bureau that I can. I will post anything up anywhere that I can, and it's not going to be worth the PR for you to not let me out of this. And first of all, I just offered to drop my amount again and keep making payments. They wanted me to pay $1,000 to get out. I just thought, hang on, I can't even do that. I can't afford that. I have no space on a credit card to even pay that. I'm going to have to borrow the money of someone. And I emailed them back and I said, no, I'm not paying that. It is not worth it. I said, I've been in other courses where if you pay a monthly fee and if you don't see the value in that course in the first month, you just cancel it. And we ended up agreeing on a smaller amount, something like about 300 US for me to get out.
And finally, our third and last interview. This person not only signed up, but they went through everything and stayed the course for 6 months. And that was the length of how much they paid, basically. That's what they got. And I thought this interview was incredibly insightful because they were able to share what it was like long term. And some of the things that they were saying really blew my mind. For example, spoiler alert, on the live calls that happened in this training, so many people were getting so angry and wanting their money back that the person, Emma, just stopped doing them. There was too much, not spam, but too much negative feedback in these live calls about people not getting sales, wanting their money back, the whole thing not being worth it. So she just stopped doing them. I'm sorry, what? When lots of people are complaining, instead of helping and maybe refunding, you just kind of say, this isn't my problem, I'm not going to do this anymore. No. Anyway, let's interview this last person and hear what she has to say. How did you find out about this course?
I was looking specifically for something and found this person on YouTube. And they had a link to, click this link and we can have a conversation, serious inquiries only type thing.
Okay, so you spoke to a member of the team.
Yes, I spoke to the person who was in the YouTube video.
Oh, you spoke to the actual person?
I did, yes.
Oh, wow. Well, you're the first person who has actually spoken to the main person. So that's really, really cool. Because now, I mean, I've heard that there's just a sales team that handles all the calls and everything. So what was this phone call like then?
Oh, it was very sales heavy. I went into the call that I had already made up my mind before I spoke to them that I was going to move forward as long as it wasn't like, beyond my ability financially to join. So the sales tactics were not necessarily needed because I'd already decided, but it was very sales heavy and a lot of if you sign up during this call, then it'll be this amount. And if you but it's only for the 30 minutes that we're talking. Once we hang up, that offer is gone, it goes up kind of thing.
So what were those numbers that you were quoted?
I don't remember all of them. I mean, there was a 6 weeks option for the course only. There was 6 month for course only and then plus coaching. And that was 4,500. And then I think it was 6,000 for a year or 7,000, something like that.
So what did you end up paying then?
4,500.
Is that US dollars?
Yes.
And what did that get you?
They got me access to the course, which theoretically is forever. You can keep going back to the course, and then 6 months of coaching. And there's a full coaching team, so you don't actually speak with the coaches. You put your question in like a chat. So you could ask for, somebody to look at your shop and give you feedback on it. You could ask somebody to look at a listing and give feedback on it. You could ask a question about, how to run ads. Or
when you signed up during this call, when they told you about the coaching, did you think you were going to be speaking one-on-one with the main person?
I did, yes.
And did you say that at all, or you just assumed that?
Well, this person does offer. Originally, when I started, this person offered meetings, and it was in the afternoons, so it was easy for people anywhere in the world to join. And you would come and you would ask this person your question, and they would answer your question. And then eventually, there were so many complaints during the sessions. People were saying, "I'm not making sales. I'm doing everything that the course says. I'm following it exactly, and I'm not making sales." And they just turned off the mic. So they made it so that people coming in didn't have the ability to speak, like they were just there to listen. And the reasoning they gave was they could get more people in the room. So it was add your question ahead of time to a spreadsheet. This person would go over your questions live and then move on to the next question. So there was no opportunity to interact at all. Just
So there was no opportunity to ask questions in like a chat box or something? Or the chat got removed as well?
Oh yeah, there was originally there was that option, and then that was not. It was one question only. Ask it ahead of time. This person was just going through the list and reading the questions, and
Effectively, this could have just been pre-recorded and sent out. It didn't have to be live. Did they ever get rid of the live calls entirely?
then they created what they call an inner circle group. So only those sellers who make over a certain amount of money were invited to be part of this group, and so that's pretty much the calls that this main person does now.
So basically, the inner circle was made because no one on the inner circle is going to complain about not getting sales because they've all been qualified to get sales.
Right.
So the people that actually need the help that aren't getting sales can no longer get the help that they need because they're not qualified for the inner circle.
You can ask the coaches. Now, I do want to say the coaches, some of them are amazing. I do want to say that. Like, some of them are just outstanding. I think one of the problems with the way that it's structured is it's a queue. So you put your question in, and any one of the coaches could pick up the question depending on who's next up and where your question is in the queue. So they may not have all of your information, especially with hundreds of people who are asking questions all the time. So you get sometimes conflicting answers or something that doesn't make sense or goes against what was in the course itself, or like, so it's really, sometimes it was not very helpful and was more confusing. But when you get to go on the calls with the coach live, if there are not too many people and you can have a conversation, some of those coaches are really wonderful.
Of course, I'm sure there are some really honest and good people on the platform. But are you saying having all these different coaches, sometimes they had conflicting opinions?
Oh yeah.
If you are someone watching this video, what would your advice be, seeing as you've gone through a good portion of the training, you haven't tried to get a refund or anything like that? What would your advice be?
I would go with other options. Especially, it depends on what you want to do. No, I would go with other options no matter what you want to do. But I think that there's too much of a, I'm going to try to cover all my bases a little bit kind of thing. So like a little bit of print on demand, a little bit of handmade, a little bit of, a little bit of like literally 5-minute videos, which I know from a learning perspective is the best way to approach learning because people have very short attention spans. But it isn't deep enough for you to really get what you need to move forward. So if you want to do print on demand, I don't know that that is worth the money.
Okay, and in terms of your actual Etsy business following their training, how did that go?
I'm still not getting sales. I mean, they're once in a while kind of coming in, but nothing based on.
Right, you didn't make back the $4,500.
No, not even close. No, I think I'm still in a deficit situation.
Gosh, I'm so sorry about that because it's certain people really give an industry a bad name, unfortunately. And I'm a true believer in training and courses. I take a lot. I have done some myself. I currently have a community, right? And I am a real believer in it. Like if I want to learn to do anything, I will usually do it through a course because I know I can just learn faster. What I really dislike is the sometimes dishonesty, the sales tactics, the urgency. Like in all honesty, if you sign up on the phone or you signed up a week later, it would make no difference to that person. The only thing it would allow would be for you just to think about it a little bit. And not only that, but then asking you to sign up and saying you have to take a leap of faith. I can't show you what's inside. You'll see what's inside. It will be worth it. Again, huge red flag, in my opinion. It's like, do you believe in your product? Because if you believe in your product, you'd want to show it. If you don't believe in your product, then yeah, obviously you don't show it. Keep it a secret. And then on top of that, to not offer any sort of refund, but to not even give the option, it kind of stacks on it basically. Like to say, no, you can't see what's inside, you have to take a leap of faith, fine. But then to also not offer that refund, you're kind of basically saying at that point, I really don't believe in my product. If you see it beforehand, you won't sign up. But then if you don't see it beforehand and I offer you a refund potential, you'll just refund. So I need to cover my bases completely to ensure I get your money. It's really, really, really scammy. And I absolutely hate it. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully people this impacts people and helps them with their decision.
Yeah. I hope so.
Now, if those 3 interviews don't scare the living out of you, then I don't know what will. What I will say is the concept of an Etsy course is fine to me. Even one that is a few $100s. But an Etsy course that's $5,000+ is absolutely ludicrous, considering you could get banned on Etsy the day after you start the course. And because there's no refunds, you're totally screwed. I can understand paying that kind of money for, a training where you would have full control of the business and full control of the end result. For example, a business seminar, an Amazon training course, a Shopify training course, a marketing course, an SMMA course, these kind of businesses that you have control over, versus building a business that A, you can't sell, and B, you're really heavily reliant on Etsy's algorithm. So scaling is very hard. And C, one that you can ultimately get banned from at any point. And by the way, if an account is suspended, technically you are not allowed to open another one according to Etsy's terms. So despite what Emma says, where just open another account, it's not a problem, technically you can't, and it will get suspended as well. So please don't spend life-changing amounts of money on a training program centered around building Etsy's business versus building your own business. With this person in particular, there are many, many red flags. Countless people have come out and said her teachings breaks all sorts of terms and conditions, and a huge amount have actually lost their account due to following her advice. The horror stories I've heard and read since deciding to make this video have honestly shocked me. I was unaware that there was someone in the print-on-demand space that was doing something like this. I really, really hope that this video brings awareness to it all. As I haven't told you their name or their business, all I can say is to warn you is do not spend thousands and thousands of dollars on an Etsy course. Don't sign non-disclosure agreements or contracts when joining a course. And don't ever take a deal over the phone, especially if they offer you money off there and there. If you want to go back and sign up later, trust me, they will still give you that money off because at the end of the day, they want that sale. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you're thinking about signing up to an Etsy course that sounds just like this video, please search it on Google, please refer to my video, and then please run a mile and don't look back. It's a dangerous, dangerous world out there, and the last thing I would want is for you or anyone to fall victim to this disgusting scam. Thank you for watching. If you've been affected by anyone or have a story to share, please let me know in the comments below. And all I'll say is to end this is it's not your fault. If you signed up and you lost money, don't blame yourself for it. These people have every trick in the bag, up their sleeve, whatever you want to say, in order to get your money. So please don't blame yourself if you've fallen victim to this person, Emma. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do that, and I'll see you in the next video.